Hey, ladies. Welcome to the Friday edition of Black Women Making Money. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, has the Supreme Court been busy this week. I guess they figured, you know what? Hey, it's about to be a 5-day weekend. We're just going to slam all sorts of decisions over the next 2 days between yesterday and today onto America. And hopefully by next week, everybody will forget about it. So we heard earlier today, if you have been watching the news, that student loan debt relief is not coming. So we're going to talk about that today. The student loan debt relief is not coming. So we're going to talk about that. Also, the Supreme Court has put another two, what I feel, business related. They did a couple of business related decisions as well. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about an article that I saw that I think greatly affects Black women with regards to the story we talked about yesterday about the school admissions that I didn't even think about, but it's very scary for Black women. So, buckle up, everybody. Make sure you like the video as you all are coming in. We have a lot to talk about. I am Cherie of Black Women Making Money. We are the home of the upwardly mobile Black woman. If you are not on my email list, you definitely want to get on it, bwmakingmoney.com. I think it's July 16th, we are doing a watch party for a masterclass by Robin Roberts, where we're going to talk about communication, negotiation, how to persuade people in the workplace, at home, in the streets, etc. So the only way that you can get an invitation is if you are on my email list. So you want to come to bwmakingmoney.com, bwmakingmoney.com. Also, if anybody is listening to the replay, definitely put replay in, or you can bitch and complain about the Supreme Court and their recent decisions with regards to what they are doing. So I want to greet everybody now. Welcome to NC Worker. Good afternoon. Taters is in the building. You're saying I knew they wouldn't. Yeah, well, we got a glimpse that they would not. Accidentally clicked noon. Liking the video, my bad. Oh, thank you. Thanks. I finished paying off my debt, thank God. Good for you. I have not. I have a long way to go. Hey, ladies, U.S. will soon be a two-tier society like every other third world country. It has been a two-tier society. It's actually been a three-tier society. There was actually a comfortable middle class until about 20 years ago. Now we are going to extremes. There's going to be the haves and the have-nots. I'm just encouraging you ladies to be a part of the haves. I can't save the Black community. We can't save the Black community. Or if you think you can, I got a special show coming up on Wednesday called Should We Fight for a Seat at Their Table or Build Our Own? So you all can come and slug it out with me on that day. But actually, no, that's on Monday. On Monday, July 3rd, we're going to be doing that. But yeah. Christina saying, I can't believe it based on those sad arguments only. Yeah, we're gonna watch a little video about it. Hello, Shar, welcome. You're saying, hey, Cherie, happy Friday. Always great content, girl. Well, thank you so much, Financially Basic. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video as you all are coming in, and let's talk about the Supreme Court. They are cutting up. The first thing, okay, yesterday we had the conversation about the affirmative action basically being removed from schools. And one thing I did not think about was the fact that medical schools are going to be hit. According to NBC News, they had an article here that I saw this morning. Medical schools will be even less diverse after affirmative action ruling, according to experts. Experts fear medical and nursing schools will no longer be able to foster diversity by considering race as a factor in their admissions processes. Ladies, we have been talking about the Black maternal health crisis for how long? I am concerned about this. We already know that Black maternal deaths is the only death that occurs across socioeconomic lines. It doesn't matter how much money you have just as much of a chance of dying at childbirth as somebody who is extremely poor. And I don't want my extremely poor Black women dying either. But this is the only crisis that does not get better with money. I'm very concerned about this. We need to be able to compete. We need to be able to make sure that Black women can get into medical and nursing schools. It could be a matter of life and death for us. I'm hoping at some point Mokomami will talk about this more, but if anything, I'm concerned. We also have an aging elderly population. Who's going to take care of them and make sure that they're getting the help that they need if we don't have the nurses and the doctors in place? So, wanted to share this with you. Let's talk about another decision that the Supreme Court snuck in today. This is a business case that has been happening. Apparently, no, I have my thoughts about this. So let me hear what you all think. There was a website designer, and a gay couple came to her and said, "We want you to make us a wedding website." And the website designer said, "No, I do not design websites for gay people." This has been at the Supreme Court. And now the Supreme Court today snuck this in because everybody's talking about student loans. Hardly anybody's talking about this, but they have sided with the wedding website designer, meaning that I, as a service person, you, as a service person, do not have to serve people that we don't want to serve because we are doing creative things. You all may have remembered the gay couple that wanted the baker to bake them a cake, and that went all the way up to the Supreme Court. I personally don't understand why you would want to give somebody your money who doesn't want to take it. If somebody looked at me and said, "You're Black, I don't serve Black people," I take my green someplace else. However, this is a decision that has come forth, and it does have implications for you if you are a creative person who is doing business. So for me, my past life, I was a business plan writer. I had somebody come to me wanting to do PORN, and I turned them down because I said, I don't write those types of business plans. Imagine if somebody was able to get me to force me to write business plans for an industry that I did not believe in, even though it was legal. So, yeah, that is something else that happened today. Another thing that the Supreme Court did, and I hate these. There we go. Move over. Now, the Supreme Court also today put out something. If you all live in Mississippi, they rejected a challenge to a Jim Crow era Mississippi voting law. Okay, this is a law from the 1890s. What happens is there are certain felons within Mississippi that are not able to vote. And the felons took the court case up to the Supreme Court and wanted the Supreme Court to decide, like, hey, no, you all cannot not allow these felons to vote because more Black people have felonies in Mississippi than other people. The Supreme Court basically said, no, we are not going to look at this case. Mississippi has the right to continue to say that felons are not going to be able to vote. Why am I bringing this up? I know some people aren't going to like it when I say this, but if you can't live with stuff like this, don't do the crime. Like, don't put yourself in a situation where you can get a felony. And I'm not saying that everybody that's in jail with the felony deserves it or deserves to be there. Do I think there are innocent people in jail? Yes. But all I can say to Black people, especially Black women, do not put yourself in a situation that you can't get out of. That's what I'm going to say to that. Hey, Computer and Coin. Hello, hello. And finally, so the Supreme Court put all of this stuff out between yesterday and today. They've been busy. They've been busy. The final one, before we get to the student loans, I told y'all the Supreme Court has been busy. There was a transgender woman that was in jail for months with men. The transgender woman had to shower with the men around. The transgender woman was not able to have privacy. First, the transgender woman wanted to be put into the prison with other women. The Supreme Court decided that they were not going to hear the case of this transgender woman who feels like her rights were violated because she was in the prison with men. Personally, I'm okay with that. I feel for transgender women, but I don't think should have transgender women in a prison with women. So, I'm gonna take a stand on that. But again, this came out today as well. See, I told y'all the Supreme Court has been busy. They have been busy. They said, you know what? Y'all are going on July 4th weekend. We are going to toss all of this stuff out and it's all going to get caught up in the mix and the fray. So let's talk about the main thing that we came here to talk about. Let's first of all get to the news story of the day, which is all about the student loans. And let me see if you all are saying anything in here before I move on to this story. Samri is in the building. Say, I keep going down the AA rabbit hole and realize that the statistics of Black women being the most educated would be affected. Yep. Well, we would still be able to be educated because hopefully at least we could go to community college if we choose to, or we could go to most public state universities. So I'm hoping that it will not be as affected as you think, because it's not like we can't go to school at all, at least from what I'm thinking. It's that there's going to be a ceiling on what we're going to be able to do. They need their own jail. I actually agree with that, Christina. I agree with that. Supreme Court is not playing when it comes to felons and LGBTQ groups. Yeah, people thought they would only come for women and Black and brown people. They were wrong. That is true. I'm surprised because LGBTQ seems to be a very, very protected class, and it's not going well for them with regards to the Supreme Court. But you have a conservative Supreme Court. So, Shar is saying, I read that. That made me think more about the affirmative action ending, more rejection to come. Yeah. I'm young, but I remember a time when you only heard about the Supreme Court once a year. Now it's once a week. They just sneaked that case in today. Yeah, look, they were sneaking in multiple decisions in today. All of it kind of fell through the cracks. Still working on mine, but about a year and a half left. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's okay. This is really bad. I never thought about it on this level. I think you're talking about the medical students. Yeah, I'm really concerned. I really am. I'm trying to become a have and not a have not. Well, you are in the right place, natural hair. You are definitely in the right place. I never thought it was going through and really think it would have been unfair to those who've paid their debt. Don't sign the papers if you cannot afford to pay back loans. Well, you and Tim Scott agree. You and Tim Scott agree. Um, Becky is saying the Supreme Court threw all the controversial decisions and ran. Yes, they did. They did. HBCU admissions are likely to continue to soar. I don't know about that. I don't know. They may go up, but I don't know if they're going to soar. I want to encourage my daughter to study abroad. Maybe she'll find a husband and immigrate. So, look, encourage her to study abroad. Absolutely. I did 6 months in Belgium, traveled from Spain to Turkey. Best time of my life. Loved it. All right, ladies, let's watch the news here, see what is happening with regards to these student loans.
Just happened that will have an effect on consumer spending. The Supreme Court out with the ruling on President Biden's student debt cancellation plans. Our Alexis Keenan has been reading through the decision, and it seems as though this is a defeat for the president and that plan.
Yeah, Julie, definitely a defeat here. There were two cases that the Supreme Court was looking at, so kind of two chances to challenge this particular plan for debt forgiveness for student loan borrowers. One was brought by 6 Republican-led states. The other was brought by 2 borrowers. Now, the court did away with the one by the 2 borrowers, saying that they don't have standing to sue. But the one they're making this decision on is the Republican states who challenged the law. And they said Missouri, which has a significant student loan servicer that stands to benefit from student loans continuing to be paid out over time, they're the ones who have the hook here and were able to keep this case in court. Now,
Okay, so the company that they're talking about right now is Mohela, Mohela. They have a lot of student loans that they're servicing. Full disclosure, they're servicing my student loans, so I know how they are. To me, they've been very fair with regards to, like if I have any kind of hardship or anything like that, they work with me, etc. So I am encouraging people, if you have a financial hardship right now still, don't run from student loans. We're going to talk about some options for you. But what they were able to prove is that nobody was going to foot the bill for these student loans not being repaid. So this company, Mohela, was basically proving that they were going to have to eat that cost. And the Supreme Court, I always tell you, capitalism takes care of itself. The Supreme Court was like, no, we absolutely cannot have this company just eating the cost like this. So that is that's the word. You're asking if they're private. Yeah, they're a private company, but I have federal student loans and I never refinance them. So they service that federal debt. Dave Ramsey's about to go on a rant about how he was right. Yeah, look, Dave Ramsey is right about a lot of stuff. He really is. I don't have a problem with Dave Ramsey. I think I said this already. The repayment freeze was a blessing for everyone to pay off any debts they could. That is true. We had 3 years to repay our debts or get a plan in place. And I will say this to you, ladies. Payments start up again in October. You have 3 months, July, August, September. You have 3 months to get a plan together if you currently don't know how you're going to pay your student loan. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight as well. And you all can throw your ideas in the chat with regards to how people can either repay their loans or get some extra, money in to repay your loans, or ask for a repayment plan based on this decision. Let's keep listening.
The question was, can the Biden administration unilaterally, or really any administration, forgive federal student loan debt under the HEROES Act based on an emergency, national emergency, in this case, COVID-19 being the national emergency there. And the question was, could they do that without approval from Congress? And this court here saying no in a 6-3 decision, with Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson dissenting, Chief Justice John Roberts writing that no, this forgiveness plan is not legal. It cannot stand stand under the HEROES Act, and that the administration is not authorized to offer this kind of debt forgiveness. Now, I am
Okay, so I watched another news story where they said that President Biden, if Congress had approved student loan forgiveness, meaning that they had put it in into a law and sent it to President Biden to sign, that would have been legal because Congress controls the purse strings of the United States. But the way that Biden set this up, he could not unilaterally, meaning through executive order, do this. So that's the loophole that they went through in order to get this tossed out.
still reading through the decision here, and there'll be more to come. But basically what this does is it makes that plan that was to forgive up to $20,000 in federal student loan debt for borrowers whose modified adjusted gross income was under $125,000 or households up to $250,000. They were going to be able to get up to $20,000 of student loan debt wiped out, or possibly maybe just up to $10,000, depending on whether those borrowers had a Pell Grant that they had received during the course of their borrowing. Now, this impacts largely a much bigger group, 43 million borrowers, student loan borrowers in the US. The administration had predicted that 20 million of those borrowers could have seen some forgiveness under this plan. But also you have to look at taxpayers. Before the court had halted this plan from going forward, you had 26 million already applied. But as for the taxpayers, the cost of this plan, it varied widely, so it's kind of hard to get your arms around it. On one hand, you had the CBO saying that it would cost $400 billion over 30 years. You also had the University of Pennsylvania estimating that it would be $300 to up to $980 billion over 10 years. So certainly taxpayers stand to be impacted greatly here as well.
I don't want to hear anything about these numbers of 300 billion to 900 billion. How much money have they put into the Ukraine war, into other foolishness that they're doing at the federal government level? Now all of a sudden they want to it costs too much. And I'm not saying this is somebody who has a student loan. I'm saying this is somebody who is just objectively really, stop crying over the cost, because there's a lot of waste happening at the federal government level. Let's keep watching. And I'm also going to show you all some opportunities as well, ripple effects that this is going to have, and some opportunities that I think you may want to tap into over these 90 days so that you can get the money back to pay your student loan without it messing up your current household budget or your spending money. So let's keep watching.
But these payments now for student loans, they've been on pause since early in the pandemic. So things are going to change here for the country's millions and millions of borrowers who were looking for that relief. Guys,
just looking through the filing as well, Alexis, as you've been combing through as well, it seems like the dissent led by Justice Elena Kagan, that's saying that it essentially, as of right now, from the first page to the last, the opinion departs from the demands of judicial restraint. Just help us break down exactly perhaps what that means, as the dissent is making their case, as well as this has been a highly politicized issue going into this decision.
Yeah, so now the HEROES Act, it does say in plain English that the Education Secretary of the United States, in an emergency, in a national emergency, can waive or modify federal student loan programs. So wishy-washy language around that word programs, and that's what these justices are fighting about. And as far as judicial restraint, you might have justices perhaps on both sides of the aisles, and in fact, some of the conservative justices during the questioning, during oral arguments, had said, well, the language says that the education secretary has this power. So perhaps not restraining themselves properly and reading the letter of the text But this was definitely one that was a difficult decision. Arguments were solid on both sides. But the education secretary here not being able to go it alone, the administration not being able to go it alone, it looks like if there needs to be debt relief here for student loans, it's going to have to come from congressional action.
All right, ladies, you heard it. If student loan forgiveness is coming at all, it needs to come from Congress. It cannot come from the president by himself. So Christina's saying here, Dave Ramsey, we're going back to the Dave Ramsey conversation, needs to go on a rant about the things he was wrong about too. I agree with that. But you know, the internet is forever, and there are other commentators that talk about that. So Sam Marie is saying there's certain jobs, volunteer service programs where your student loans would be deferred, forgiven, or paid for. I want to comment on this and say, I want you, first of all, to start with your 10-year plan for yourself. What I would ask you not to do is to say, oh, shoot, I have student loans that are due. Let me take this job in order for them to be deferred or forgiven, unless you want that job. Tam is coming on Sunday at 6 p.m. She is from Women in Linux. We are having our discussion about how to get into tech as a non-STEM major. I would rather you focus on making more money than switching your career because of student loans. And I'm not talking against Samri. I think this is a great idea. I just want to put more context in this for you, ladies. Don't be afraid of your student loans. Let's figure out how you can make more money. Outside of Tam coming on Tuesday, I have a date for True Mystique, whom I'm seeing in the comments here as well. She's coming to talk about AI and ChatGPT and things like that, prompt engineering. I saw an article about a woman who's a philosophy major who's got a prompt engineering job right now. So, you know, these things are happening and they're available to us as well. So also entrepreneurship, you all know I'm always pushing for you to maybe think about a part-time business, and that money from your part-time business can go to pay your student loan potentially. Sam was also saying federal government jobs have programs that pay for your student loans as long as you keep working. Also saying Peace Corps and AmeriCorps have deferred programs where they pause the payments for the duration of the service. Thank you, Sammy. This is really great information. Even at government jobs, you have to work for years. Sam was saying if you get jobs in hard to fill positions or places, they can lower the amount you owe in student loans. Well, if it's hard to fill places, it's probably in the middle of nowhere. True Mystique is in the building. I would rather have my taxpayer dollars go to help American citizens than the Ukraine. I agree. And hey to you. Christina also agrees with True Mystique. I just want to know what they have done for us. Nada. Invincible Summers in the building saying this is so frustrating. I'm about to get started with where the tax dollars are going and whatnot. You're not about to get started with that. Yeah, you can cry so much. You're saying here, my stocks are in the dust. I was told war helps. It helps your defense stocks. I'd rather the money be used in the U.S. versus Ukraine. Does that money come out of the predetermined military budget? I think they've added money to help the Ukraine. I think they've added money in. So let's take a look at a couple of additional articles that I wanted to show you about the Supreme Court and everything that is happening. This is from Business Insider. The Supreme Court's rejection of Biden's student loan forgiveness plan will make a looming economic slowdown even worse. The Supreme Court struck down Biden's student loan forgiveness program. Now the Education Department is working to facilitate a return to repayment in October. So ladies, don't forget, October is when you have to start repaying your loans. The repayment poses risk to the economy, with consumer spending likely to be reduced. So what that means is we are expecting an economic slowdown because you're going to have 43 million Americans now having a chunk of money taken out of their budget due to student loans. So, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one is I'm in real estate. You all know that. I think there may be opportunities if you are in real estate, you're doing any kind of real estate wholesaling, especially that people may be getting rid of their properties that maybe they're not living in or things like that. If anybody does mortgages, for example, there may be some people who, this is what I'm hearing a lot of loan officers saying, is getting people to refinance even at 6-7% right now, and spread that student loan over a 30-year period of time. There may be an economic slowdown, so just be prepared for it, because the 43 million people who owe student loans, those are typically your white collar workers. So, you know, um, just kind of thinking about that as an entire process. There are some people, because of student loans, may not be able to buy houses, may not be able to buy other things. So, based on the type of business you have, the type of company you work for, it's going to be interesting to see how student loan forgiveness not being forgiven actually affects the economy in October. And we'll know between October and December, what kind of Christmas we're expecting. Actually, read an article a couple of days ago saying that retailers are expecting to have a lot of goods at a major discount during the holiday season. So they're already preparing for an economic slowdown. The retailers are Walmart, Target, Old Navy, all of those places. And this is another linchpin with regards to that. So let's see what you all are saying here. Don Earth is saying, I thought about taking a notary course, but I need to research how much money I can actually make. Yeah, do that. Do that. I would rather you ladies find a side business than, in order to pay your student loans, than to get concerned about this. Either that or contact them and get yourself on a payment plan. And we'll talk about the options that you have. Our government spends a lot on the Department of Defense. Very true. Then the Education Department. Very true. So I'm going to have my tingly hat on right now. Government. The government, the US government, more importantly, capitalism needs a lower class. They need workers. That is why I understand, and I am sitting back here saying, look, Black people are an underclass. I can't do anything about that, but I can have influence with all of you, basically saying, you're going to have to put your education first. You're going to have to put your level up first, because there is opportunity in the United States of America, but the US government don't give a crap about you as an individual. They don't give a crap about Rana, you as an individual making it. They're going to make their money one way or another. Either they're going to make their money because you're a productive citizen, you are high income, and you're, buying a house and putting your kids in private school and jet setting it all over the place. Or they're going to make their money on you because you are poor and you're in prison. And a lot of these prisons are public corporations. You can buy stock in them. They're going to make their money that way. Or they're going to make their money because you are impoverished and you're working at some low income, low job with hardly any skills, and they're going to be able to leverage you that way. So you as an individual, your family as a family unit, you're going to have to figure it out. Black people don't have the infrastructure. We're going to have that conversation on Monday. Black people don't have the infrastructure. So what are you going to do? So many people tell us that if we are still in our 20s not to pay off these loans, would love your thoughts. That's a very interesting question. So I would take a look at all of the debt that you have. If you have credit card debt or high interest rate debt, I would suggest that you pay that off first. And then I should say, I'm not a financial advisor, not a financial advisor, not a financial advisor. This is just my thought. List all of your debts that you have. Also, list all of the opportunities that you have as well. Like, for example, if you have $500 and you have a choice between paying off $500 of credit card debt or using $500 to get a tech certification that can get you a $150,000 a year job, if it were me, I would invest the $500 in getting that tech cert in order to get the $125,000 job, and then using the $125,000 job to pay off my debt, if that makes any sense. But traditionally, what financial coaches say is you make a list of all of your debts, you pay the highest interest rate debt first, no matter what the amount is owed, then you pay the second highest, third highest, fourth highest, etc. At some point, you're going to hit your student loans. If looking back, hindsight, I'm in my mid 40s now, I wish I had started paying off my student loans earlier. And I do suggest that at some point you pay off your student loans. So if you finish paying them off in 10 years, so you pay between age 23 and 33, then that's your journey. That's your journey. And I think that's perfectly fine. You're saying here, yes, I've been denied for an apartment for having student loans. It must be your debt to your income ratio wasn't high enough then to support, because you have the student loans, you have the student loan payments. Try to get on the forgiveness plan. That may work. That may work. Ron is saying, slow down. You want me to slow down? Sorry. The bubble is about to burst. Yeah, it is. This is a pain. Yeah. Yep. The housing bubble. We have a lot of credit card debt right now as a country. The bubble is about to burst. You all are absolutely right. There are going to be winners and there are going to be losers with regards to this. Housing, car, and student loan. Yeah. True Mystique is suggesting you try becoming a mobile notary. Definitely do your research, but there are people who are doing very well with it. It's all in the marketing is what I understand, but I haven't personally done it, so I don't know, except for the fact that people say mobile notary, it's about the marketing. I don't plan on being a part of it, of the underclass. Well, girl, welcome. Whether you vote or not is as important as how you vote. Yes, this is very true. Welcome, Flashwave. Don't have the infrastructure or the family support. Yes, we don't have the infrastructure, and some people don't have the family support. That's why you gotta make a family. You gotta network with people and know people so that you have somebody to lift you up at those times when you are down. And when I say down, I don't mean mentally, but I mean like economically even down. Why wait? My goal is to pay off at least 75% of my loans by 30. Yeah, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. It depends on women in adjusting and like what other loans she has, what other credit card debt and consumer debt she has. That's it. The job, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Oh, Ron is saying, no, I was talking about them housing bubbles are slowing down. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think the housing bubble is going to burst. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, no problem. No problem. I want to make sure I understood you. Okay. So let's look at a couple of final things here. So this is a student loan company that services millions of borrowers, played a big role in defeating Biden's debt cancellation plan. We already talked about this. There's a company called Mohella. I already talked to you about that. They were the major ones that got involved and basically said, no, we don't think that this is something that the US government should be doing. This comes even as Mohella denied its involvement in the lawsuit last year. So again, capitalism always takes care of itself. Follow the money in this country. Anytime there's something like this happening, look at the people who are going to gain money, look at the people who are going to lose money, and whomever has the deepest pockets, they win. Because this Mohella company spent a ton of money on lobbying. And if you think they weren't wining and dining the Supreme Court justices, you got another thing coming. So I, Cherie, don't have the power to like make things happen. All I can do is look at the landscape and say, okay, based on what I'm seeing, this is my educated guess of how this is going to happen, and just navigate it the way, the way that it needs to be. Yeah, Mohella is my loan servicer too. Yep, of course Mohella would say no. They probably were about to lose billions of dollars from this. So yeah. So um let's see here. I think all of these discussions warrant a finance class of some sort being taught as soon as children learn how to count. I agree with that. They teach them everything else. Well, see, it's our jobs as parents, as aunties, as family members to teach our children these things. If you're waiting for the government to teach them, God help. A. Lauren is in the building, just paid off over 8 credit cards from 2018 to 2022. Congratulations. Just graduated, and all I have are student loans, which is a lot, but I am ready to get rid of it. Pumped. Good for you. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. Quay, welcome. My employer is paying for the remainder of my bachelor's and master's at no cost to me and no commitment agreement once I graduate. Good for you. I get frustrated within the job, but I'll suck it up until I graduate. Girl, if you can graduate with a master's degree with no student loans, I will tell you, when I had my bachelor's degree, like if I only had my bachelor's degree debt, I would not have student loans today. But my mother was pushing me to get a master's, and I don't blame her at all. I just didn't know what I wanted to do with the master's, but she pushed me so much that I went and got it. And that put me over the top with regards to my student debt. So you know what? It's okay, right? I just am taking all of that information in and kind of giving it to you and say, if there's any way you can follow Quay where somebody else is going to pay for your degree, definitely accept it, or get your bachelor's degree if you're not sure what you're going to do, but definitely don't get a master's degree without knowing what you want to do. So yeah. So everybody's saying congratulations to you. Final thing. These are the types of programs that are available if you need your student loans reduced. So let's come here. So number one, they're saying reconnect with your student loan service provider. I suggest you do that in the next 30 days. If you moved or changed financial institutions, it's important to provide current information. Even if you didn't, you may need to reestablish automatic payments. During the pandemic, some companies exited the student loan business, so a different one may be managing your account. You can locate your loan service provider on the Department of Education student aid website. If you need an income-driven repayment plan, there are several of them, including Repay, which is revised pay-as-you-earn, PAYE, pay-as-you-earn plan. IBR is the income-based repayment plan, and ICR is the income contingent repayment plan. And find out if your monthly balance has changed. Again, you are able to go to the student loan website if you don't know who your current service provider is. I will say this. This is just my spidey tingly senses. So I'm going to say what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably fill out the paperwork for an income-driven repayment plan sooner rather than later, because I imagine in September, they're going to be slammed with these requests. So I'd rather get mine in sooner rather than later before they start like getting overwhelmed, and next thing you know they may start saying no, or things like that. So that is me, but you have some repayment plans that are options for you if you need them. So let's see here. We need to tell children to wait. IMO, I have a bachelor's in social work. I can't afford to work in my field. Oh, so, there are people making money doing other things with a social work degree. So, um, even considering tech, for example, because of social work, you probably know a lot about psychology. You probably know how to relate to people, how to engage with people, etc. So, yeah, you can't work in your field, but you definitely can level up. You're saying Bank of America, I owed them 200 to 300. I wrote to the corporate office with proof of me being a poor student. They paid off the balance. Don't be too proud to bake. Good for you. Good for you. I don't think folks should get a bachelor's degree if they don't at least have an idea of what they want to do. We can definitely duke it out with regards to that. I think it's okay. The only reason I say it's okay is because there may come a point in 10 years, 15 years where they will expect you again to have a bachelor's degree in order to get employment. And my concern is that if a young woman today decides she doesn't want to get a bachelor's degree, she starts working, she gets a good job, then she has a baby, gets married, hopefully gets married and has a baby in that order. And then all of a sudden she wants to level up, get into a new career or something like that. And bam, they say, well, no, we need somebody with a college degree. And now she's saddled with children and a husband, and she doesn't have time to go and get that degree. I have seen, and this is just could be my age and my day, I have seen people get locked out of moving to upper management and upper level positions because they don't have a degree at all. So that's the only reason why I'm like, if you're 18 years old, 19 years old, I would still suggest you get something. Now, you don't have to go to the most expensive school if you don't know what you want to do. Maybe you go to community college, or maybe you go to an inexpensive state school. But that's the only reason why I'm pushing back on that. But this is a healthy discussion. We can definitely talk about it. I agree, but they should at least attend college if they have no other way of expanding their network as a young person. I think my 250 forgiveness from Bank of America was a tax write-off for them, probably was, and I had to report it as such to the government. BOA mailed me the slip. Lower level credit win, but a win nonetheless. Good for you. You're saying, yes, I am evidence analyst for lawyers. Okay, great. So see, you leveled up with that social work degree, girl. You do your thing. Do your thing. Computer and Coin is saying I paid off my student loans, but if I could do it again, I'd start with community college, get a job, and then have them help me pay for a bachelor's and master's. Yes, especially because you're in medicine. Absolutely, Computer and Coin. Yes, more jobs are requiring the degree. You're saying that's happening in certain workforce. I personally think bachelor's degree are only valuable if pursuing a STEM law business career. Other than that, no point in racking up the debt. I disagree. In that situation, your husband needs to be a provider and allow you to use your money for attending college. Suppose you don't marry a man who can afford to do that, you know? Versus if you're 18 years old, 18 to 22, then, you have some flexibility. So, but of course, again, this is a healthy conversation. A lot of colleges have childcare support. Okay. Okay. Some state schools are great, but with good reputations and more affordable. I absolutely agree with that. So I used to live in Virginia. UVA is a phenomenal school. It's actually kind of hard to get into. Virginia Tech is also a phenomenal school. So yeah, there are some state schools that are very good, very good. So, with that, ladies, that is the discussion for the evening. Don't run from your student loan payments. You can start a part time business now and in 90 days be up and running. My suggestion is if you can, don't try to learn something new. If you can take the skills you do at work, hang up your shingle, do something part time in order to make the $500 a month in order to pay that student loan payment, that could be a great way for you to go. There's Upwork, there's Fiverr. Some of you have great ideas for ebooks or courses that you want to start offering people. You know, think again about the economy and the fourth quarter and the fact that there's going to be not as much money flowing for the holiday season. So whatever you're doing, make sure it's an aspirin, it's a need that somebody has, and that they absolutely want it and they will pay for it. The mobile notary, my understanding is there are certain types of documents that will always need to be signed and people will always pay extra money to have you there. You all know I'm doing my mortgage loans right now. I'm in a good position. I'm hoping that I was saying to somebody earlier that I hope my bank account matches my hustle like in the next couple of months. But yeah, look, don't run from this. Definitely figure out your plan. Some of you could have a tech job in the next 90 days, making $20,000-$30,000 bump in order to pay your student loans. Just don't run from it. Don't run from it. You're saying here the reason I don't think it's a good idea is because if you don't know what you're going to do, you're going to jump around majors, which can be a waste of time and an opportunity cost. It's a very funny story, Invincible Summer. My dad paid for my undergrad, like a good portion of it. He told me, you got 4 years. If you don't figure out what you're doing by 4 years, I'm not paying for a fifth. Your girl switched majors once in freshman year, and that was it. So, yeah, I will suggest this to young ladies. If you want a good major outside of computer science, think about studying accounting. Accounting, accounting, accounting. I cannot say that enough. You will practically always be employed, especially if you get your CPA and you are very good with taxes and keeping up with the tax code, etc. We can have a discussion about things that people are able to study, etc. And you can get a good accounting degree from community college, 2 years, and you'll be able to sit for your CPA exam. So, yeah. You're saying you would like to run, so be conservative with funds. I agree with that. As far as holiday shopping, not just focus on buying quality items that'll last. Yep. When you have an idea of what you're doing, you can plan internships, extracurriculars that build those specific skills. What student orgs will help you, yes, advance your goals, etc. I agree with that. Everyone is getting cold this year. I love it. You want to run to another country? No, the United States is still the best place to make it. So yeah, you got 90 days. You got 3 months. You've got July, August, and September. October, or when the first payments are due. So you basically got 90 days to figure it out, which basically means you need to be ticking now in order to get it together so that you have a 90-day run rate. You switched 3 times? Oh my goodness. How long did it take you to graduate, True Mystique? Roommates, 3 to 4 working adults per house. Okay, so let's talk about this. You can definitely do house hacking in order to get your expenses down. Just be careful, be careful, be careful who you let live in your house, because if they stop paying rent, you may not be able to get rid of them depending on the the state you live in and how backed up they are in the court system with evictions. So I am currently a project coordinator in construction and got into an entry-level role by getting my Google PM certification. So that's why I am blessed to know my journey and I'm getting my BA in PM. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, construction is going to be big over the next few years, ladies. Did my PMP and master's in organization management. Good for you. True, they not even getting cold. That's expensive. Y'all are so funny. Let's see here. 4 years because my mother refused to help me pay for a fifth. It was good because all my majors were in line with one another, and I took classes in all three of those areas. Good for you. Yeah. Be careful of roommates. Please be careful of roommates. You can't get rid of them in New York. Yeah, there are a lot of places that are tenant friendly and you cannot get rid of people. A lot of weirdos out there. Airbnb traumatized me in college. Yep. Yeah. So just be careful. I'm going to say this again. I think that all of you have the ability to make an additional $500 a month doing a side hustle, taking on some extra projects, etc. at the very least. Some of you are underpaid $20,000, $30,000. If you just gotten a tech or something like that, you can do so much better. So, all right, ladies, I am out of here. I will see you on Sunday for my show with Tam. We're going to be talking about tech for non-STEM majors, so definitely come back for that. If you're not on my email list, bwmakingmoney.com, bwmakingmoney.com. bwmakingmoney.com, we are going to be having a masterclass watch party showing Robin Roberts, the host of Good Morning America. She is going to be talking to us about communication, negotiation, leveling up in the workplace, etc. But the only way you can get an invitation to that is to be on my email list, bwmakingmoney.com, bwmakingmoney.com. So thank you so much, ladies, and I will see you on Sunday. Take care. Bye.